Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Royal Link podcast. We have a very special episode today. Beefy is currently away on holiday, so I pulled in the big guns. I pulled in Acidic Virus that you've already met before. He's been on the show. Masanevre is coming as well. So we've got a three-man crew for you today. We're going to talk through a huge variety of different things. It's been 5 weeks since the Royal Link Cup has finished. We're going to talk about what people have been playing, games, touch on just different bits and pieces. But I'll let them introduce themselves properly. I'll throw it over to Acidic Virus.
Hi, welcome. I'm Acidic Virus. Hope you're all doing good. And this
Oh,
is
and we have a.
Masanevre, welcome everyone. Thank you for having me back as well on the podcast.
It's good to have you both back on the podcasts. Now the only two people that have appeared on more than one episode. Privileged. Cool. So yeah, just wanted to invite you both on here. So it's now been 5 weeks since the link up's finished. I'm wondering. Obviously, myself, and Beefy did a show immediately after. Our immediate thoughts was the link up, but it's good to hear what you boys think. 5 weeks on, how do you think it went?
So for me, yeah, I thought it was a good link up. I enjoyed myself. Good mix of games. I really quite enjoyed Winwood. Doing the 7 days was good fun. X-Defiant. Sins 2 was great. A great little find. I mean, for me, it had its, it's the classic downsides of the link is kind of like the in-between time of games and the stop-start. For me, it made it a little bit difficult with the streaming side of things, but I knew that would probably be the case going in. But the people that came in and enjoyed themselves in the stream and liked the variety and kind of like getting to see, I think they would have liked to see a bit more of the group, so to speak. As last year, I had sort of like a different position. We were in a different location, and like the background was kind of more of everybody in the background, as opposed to the kitchen. So it felt kind of more LAN-y from their perspective. But feedback from the people on my side, my followers, they enjoyed the kind of like more community or like the big group games. They enjoy the banter that we have with each other. Things like Gartic Phone. They really enjoy Gartic Phone. So yeah, no, but I really enjoyed myself. I love the link up either way. But yeah, I definitely think it was a successful one. We definitely got through a lot of games and had a lot of gaming time, shall we say.
Yeah, I actually think that we probably had a bit. It felt like we played more games this year than we have done in previous years.
Yeah, we kind of like went through the list really, pretty much, of what people had suggested and kind of. I think that's something that we haven't really done before, which is like kind of go, all right, let's dedicate some time to these games. Some people, even if it's only 2 or 3 people that wanted to play something. Maz, you were very good at doing that. You were going through the list and saying, well, we haven't played this yet. Let's try this sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that is was definitely a good thing. Mass, what your overall thoughts looking back?
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't change a thing. For me, the week was absolutely brilliant from start to finish. I really enjoyed X-Defiant, very, very fast paced. I was finding it challenging, but I got there a bit better towards the end. Very much enjoyed Deceive Inc. Wasn't brilliant either at that, but I love the way with that game you have to put quite a lot of time and effort, the build up and the suspense to the actual end of the end of the round, where you're trying to get to or trying to prevent the person from getting to the escape car. Really enjoyed playing Northgard again. Still, for me, that's still my favorite RTS. Oh, sorry, it's my second favorite RTS, only to Command and Conquer Generals. And then we had special mention. I've got to say, I thought Witch Wizard was great. Actually, I thought that was a great alternative to the other one that we played, Among Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been nice if we played a bit more of that. It was a good filler game because you could get kind of like a couple of rounds in, like in between like food orders and stuff like that.
And then Chivalry 2, I give a shout out to that as well. It was pretty brutal, but it was great fun. And
I think you
definitely
played that on the one day that I wasn't there.
Yeah, I was rather satisfied chopping off people's arms and legs and heads.
Yeah, it was great.
Very
Great
bloody.
game. I definitely would be looking forward to playing that again sometime. But yeah, as you say, we got through a lot of games during the week. A lot of games. There's dozens.
I think like, could we get the sort of standard order of like RTS as the early game, and then, but when we were playing, since it didn't even feel like it went on for that long amount of time, really. I felt that sometimes those games go on for so long that it can take up like half the afternoon, and then by the time you lunch, break, and do stuff, almost you almost only have like one or two more games that you really want to play for the rest of the day.
Yeah, they get quite intense, don't they? They sort of like, it feels like there's a lot of concentration that goes on with those strategy games, and you kind of step away like oof, feeling a bit drained if you're sat there for sort of 5-6 hours. But I think that was good with like Sins in the fact that because not everybody had it, and we weren't all playing it at the same time. Those that had it, we were sort of like, I think the most people we had was maybe 6 playing it. Otherwise, it was like 3s or 4s that were playing it. It meant that the games didn't clog up because we had 10 of us all trying to turtle and play for 6 hours. I mean, I love turtling with my star bases, but yeah, the games were a bit quicker against the AI, and when you have less players, then yeah, you guys had like you and Vedic played, and you got a game done in sort of like 2-3 hours. So it does make a difference.
And of course, we've got a Steam release for that as well in a few days' time, haven't we? So all 3 teams, I'm told, will be available.
Yeah, I think it's actually just full release across the board. So, I mean,
I don't know if anyone was big on the who's the third one, because Thessari and TEC were the ones that currently are out.
Advent,
that was it. Yeah, I've always been a Vasari player, so I've never really done a lot with Advent. So I don't know if there's anyone that's really looking forward to it.
I think Nails was an Advent player, because I think most people generally have their sort of one that they stick with.
I think most people were either Vasari. I know like Beefy was Vasari. A lot of people tended to go Tech.
Yeah, I go Tech.
Myself as well.
Any games that surprised you at the link up?
I suppose Chained Together was something quite different.
Yeah,
that was good fun.
Good.
Although I was
when did you play that?
Late evenings.
That must have been the evening that you weren't here when you were away.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we had 8 of us. We had 2 teams of 4 playing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Our team, yeah. I think I was definitely I was the weak point in the team. So we did fall down a few times. I did miss time my jump. But that was great.
I didn't get to play with Mass, so I don't know how bad it was. It felt like we were doing all right on our team. I think I was with Ace, Lex, and Kane, so we weren't too bad. I think we played it another night as well.
Who are you doing it again with, Carl? Cut.
Ace, Rage, and Lex.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've seen a few streamers play it. It's the same as it got the same hype as obviously Only Up. Everyone played that till they completed, and then the game just died straight away. As soon as
they took it off, didn't they?
Yeah, I think because it contained copyrighted assets, so it had like some Nintendo like logo or something in there, or like there was some just copyright stuff that ended up they had to cut it out. But I think the owner of the game, he made it, and he said he's never going to make another game again. It was something weird like that I heard.
Yeah, I think he was like a single solo like indie sort of like developed this thing, and it absolutely shot off and skyrocketed, and then he had all these issues with it. I'm fairly sure it only lasted like 2 months on Steam before they took it down for the copyright like infringements or issues. And yeah, I remember at the time, hearing word that he was like, well, it's not coming back and I'm not going to do anything again. It was obviously because I mean that's the flip side. I think that's kind of like the flip side that people don't think about so much. Everyone may think that it's great, that it's great when an indie game can take off, but that on the flip side of not only expectations going forward within the game or future games, but also trying to handle all that information that's coming to you from like reviews and bugs and stuff like that. When you've kind of got this solo passion project, you kind of bring out, you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to put it out in the world and see what happens. And when it just kind of takes off like that and becomes like a in the moment sensation, that must be, while you might be like, wow, this is amazing, I never expected my game would get this big, then it's like, oh my god, I've got all of this stuff that I've got to deal with. And how do you do that if you're a 1 or 2 man team where you suddenly have all these other things that you have to handle that you never would have to handle, doing
that you never
games.
need to think about.
Well, that's it. You don't go in making a game I guess you don't go in with a backup of like, okay, if this massively takes off, I suddenly need to find half a dozen people to take on into this company, this team that can help direct, I don't know, like the social side of things, bug fixes, expectations on like where this is going next, handling the community side of things. Like nobody I expect as an indie gamer goes into doing these things like that. I think they're obviously more of a passion project, but you don't expect those things to come. But obviously, it's something that comes with that fame, air quotes, right?
Yeah. You actually played it, Masanevre, didn't you? Very briefly.
I did play it. Yeah, last year's Link. Yep.
About 10 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think I basically forced you to play it on the last day.
I think you like kind of went up, you played it until you fell down, and then you were like, yeah, I'm done. I don't like this.
Yes, it's challenging. It was a good game.
That's sort of all the games played from the link up. What about obviously it was at a brand new venue this year, different food options again. Thoughts on layout and setup of the room? Either anyone? I think that obviously for people on camera, we sort of had to be the way that we were, but it felt that almost like the social corner was sort of like that the group of 4, and that was sort of it a little bit, wasn't it?
I think going forward into next year, we can take what we had from this year's link up and the setup and the way that the social side of things with regards to the TikTok, the YouTube streaming, Twitch streaming, from I'd say the 4 of us on that table, and obviously what we had the year before, we can kind of take those 2 things together, and I think we can get something that's going to work really well for next year. So I know from last year, for myself as a Twitch streamer, I was streaming most days. Some of the days I was streaming through the whole day. My position within the room was kind of like facing into the rest of the room. So like my background, you could kind of see the people and the PCs on the side, which I think is kind of like the shot that you want for something like that. Because even then with the downtime, you can see stuff that's going on, what people are doing. We did have some concerns from some of the people with the way that the TikTok kind of exploded, and how much time was spent doing the TikToks last year, how much was live streaming. Some people took, were a bit annoyed with kind of like just the repetitiveness of what was going on with the videos and that, which we kind of took that all into, or you guys took into consideration and made sort of like, hey, this is what we're looking to do this year, so it's not so intrusive. We're going to limit the amount of time that we're doing live, and we're going to do this, which I think is great. And we kind of kept that social side of it. And I think people were a bit more, the people that weren't involved in that were slightly more reserved as to how that was all going to go based on the previous year. So I think keeping where we were slightly separate was good for this year. And I think based on how this year went and how it wasn't so terrible, I'd like to think, because nobody had an issue with me streaming it last year and kind of everybody kind of being in the background. And I think it was more the reservation of like how much time and what was going on for the TikTok based on the first year was why people were a bit more reserved this year in like, I don't really want to appear on it, or I don't want to be in the background. But I think for next year, I'd like to think that they could base off how it wasn't as extreme last year in sort of like what was being done in terms of like the live streams on the TikTok. That it was just a Q&A, same Q&As for like 5-6 hours for some of them that were sort of sat there. More of a, we want to kind of show what's going on in the gaming and that. They would be, I can't see any reason why they would be like, okay, I have a problem with this. And then we can, you know, maybe rotate, even if, say, if we were in the same location, you know, we can make the content that comes out from the TikTok side of things feel more inclusive to the viewers and to those that want to watch it, and make it kind of like a bit more engaging. But I kind of think we had to go through the stage that we had this year, kind of like as a, like, here's a proof that it's not going to get so extreme and it's just not going to be Beefy answering who's got the best PC 350 times in the space of 5 hours, which as someone that's a content creator, you know, you have to do that sometimes with those things, like in any sort of thing. But if the person next to you isn't a content creator and they're just trying to play games, and they're sat next to someone that's just constantly answering the same half a dozen questions, then I could see that impacting their experience of the link up. And ultimately, the link up is about us, the friends, the gaming, and the experience of that week. But I think taking how toned down it was this year kind of proves that, okay, well, it's not extreme. Yeah, this is okay. I don't have any problem. Like you did like an hour long. Beefy did kind of like hour long stream, hour and a half in the evening, like kind of taking that experience and moving it maybe to like, okay, we're going to do like 2 2-hour things, and you know, people having experienced it not being that kind of repetitive question and answer thing, I think they would be, you know, more happy and acceptable. Okay, we can, yeah, I don't have a problem with this. This isn't annoying. This is quite good. This is all right. I don't have a problem, you know, being in the background and being a part of this.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I ended up towards the latter half of the week. I was then started streaming sort of 12 till 2, and then doing 7 till 7:30, 9 o'clock on Twitch. I think the one thing we always generally have to be one of the at the venue. We do have children.
Yeah. We obviously have to be mindful of
we have to, and we don't want them to appear on camera. So it's how do we ensure that they don't appear on camera when they come home from school? So who can just run into the area because they're as excited to be in as part of it anyway. So it's how do we make sure that the cameras are off at that time before they go to bed? So I think almost that will ultimately end up probably being split, like sort of doing a 12 till 2 and then a 7 till late stream. And maybe we do that all on Twitch, and then we do like that hour and a half blast on TikTok moving forward, because that's quite high pace, quite high, lots of content. But that takes it out of Beefy doing it for that amount of time when you've got 1,000 people watching you. It's a real hard graft.
Yeah, when you got that many people and enough stuff flowing through on your chats and that, it is hard to try and cover everything that's coming across. Totally get that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Maybe.
maybe he shares that. I think I don't know how limited we are with the technology on what it allows. I think you said there's issues with like logging in or multiple people having that sort of profile or being able to do that access to it, so it takes the burden off him. Someone else does the Twitch stream or the TikTok stream, sort of like you kind of rotate it between 2 or 3 people potentially. Could be a way of going forward.
Yeah, it's really interesting. TikTok seems to, certainly since sort of the link up, my TikTok feed has got absolutely terrible. Like
Really?
almost every other video is a live video, and it's just crap. Like I've got one person like selling clothes, one person selling car license plates or registration plates. Got next one like selling technology. It's like it's all just basically becoming a mini QVC. It's
Really?
yeah, awful. And half the videos, like I don't know if something's changed in the algorithm, but I've never, like, since I sort of went back on it maybe like a year ago, literally since July, I've never, I don't even open the app now because it's rubbish. All the content is terrible.
That's a bit sad.
Yeah.
One thing I did think of that was kind of like an immediate thought post link, Twitch wise, is that Twitch does like you can create your own sort of like gaming like community, is in like you can have like a gaming group or a group of streamers all kind of within like one brand, one branch. So you kind of create this group, it would say maybe the Royal Link Up group, and then certain decide who's in there, but it kind of like has its own page, and then it lists all the people that are in that community or group as streamers, content creators for Twitch, and then it will have like whether they're live or not at the same time, and you can kind of click, if everybody is live you can kind of click between them and just kind of bring up their streams. Potentially they could, if there's if there's people that want to be streaming the games, even if it's only for the sake of the link up. Obviously you did some streaming and Beefy does some streaming and I stream as well. If there are other people that are happy to stream their gameplay, like under, if they want to do that, obviously got that setup and that, but at least
Okay.
potentially it could be something that we could go, hey, check out the Royal Link Up community, and then if we're all playing X Defiant or something like that, and there's like 3 or 4 of us streaming, then you can kind of, people can kind of hop between those channels or multi-tab, have kind of like everybody up on their screen, and then they can kind of jump between all of us live on who's doing what. Could be a potential for that, depending on how things are with TikTok going forward into
Okay.
into
Because
next
there's
year.
also you can string together or something. I've seen. There's a
I
function.
think they got rid of that. They did
Okay.
kind of like I've never
I
done it
just lost
myself
you there,
within the
Carlos.
platform, but they're I'm fairly sure that. Oh, sorry. I think they got rid of it.
Okay.
Like I've never when it was around, but there was kind of like a stream together where you can kind of pull in someone else's stream. But I do know other people within the community I'm of that have tried it, and with mixed results on how good it was, and I'm fairly sure they kind of axed it like 3 months ago. But again, yeah, that's something else that could be looked into, where you can kind of pull in. But I think the other person might have to be streaming at the same time, or have some sort of link onto where their feed's coming in, so you can pull that in. And I don't know if you can do more than one
Okay.
person in.
I wonder where it's definitely something to look into. Masanevre, did thoughts?
In terms of where I was located, I was down the other side of the room. I did come over, and I was a couple of cameos I think I made on camera, but I mean, it didn't really affect anything because I suppose that you were on the other side of the room anyway, so I didn't really hear or see too much, to be honest. I was fine with what was going on down my end. Yeah, it was all was well.
Okay. What was your favourite food from the link up?
To probably be the order that we made to the Chinese. Made it twice. The first time myself, I was a little greedy. I ordered the noodles with beef and then had the hoisin duck as well. It's delicious, but I don't think I managed to finish all my noodles. And the second time, just ordered the hoisin duck. Wasn't so greedy, but yeah, that was definitely delicious. And then, of course, I'll give there'd be a shout out as well, I suppose, to the Belgian buns that we were getting from Wenzel's.
When you got them, right?
When we got them, and I think that you missed out on a burger, didn't you, once as well?
I think we all pretty much experienced something missing from our order. Yeah.
Yeah, earlier on in the start of the link, we definitely
That
having a bit
triple
of trouble.
whopper.
Yeah.
Well, I got that 20 box of onion rings. Disappointing, Burger King.
Yeah, usually, like it's. I mean, Wendy's was obviously messed up almost every single order. I think there's something missing, certainly for the first 3 days.
Yeah.
The thing, I was like, how do they just mess up these orders? Like,
I know, right? No one actually check. Although, to be fair, I got a Burger King on the way to my holiday last weekend, and I ordered a triple whopper because Burger King I had the triple whopper, and they gave me one pay, and I was like,
I thought there was going to be two, but no,
no, just one. But it's well annoying because I'd kind of spread out, kind of like how well, for me, I kind of make a little plate area. So I kind of unfold the burger wrapper, kind of move the burger to the side, and then you kind of pour out all the chips and your onion rings and that. And then so I'd kind of set this all up, and I went to go and put some sauce in the burger. I lift it up, and I was like, that looks really short. And then I'm like, oh, they've only put one pay. And then I'm like, oh, how am I going to take this back to the counter and prove that there's only one thing? So I'm like, I can't just carry this burger like this. So I had to kind of scooch everything onto the bag that the order came on, so I could rewrap the burger and take it up. And they're like, got your receipt? And I was like, and they literally just took it out back and slapped a couple more patties on it. I was like, I thought they'd make me a fresh one and be like, here, no worries, we'll make you a fresh one. You can keep this. And I was going up there thinking, yeah, I might get an extra burger out of this. But they would know. She just took it away, came back, slapped up a couple of patties. I was like, okay, well.
Cheers. Customer service is dead, isn't it?
All right, well, it's all run by kids these days anyway. So.
It makes you sound like we're old.
I mean, these kids are these people are 20 years younger than me, so I think I can call them kids. That's fine.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you
that. Not to upset any Burger King employees out there.
No. What was your favourite food for the link up?
It's got to be that local establishment. I had that beast of a pizza. Oh, that was so good. That 16-inch pepperoni pizza was one of the best pizzas I've had. A serious contender for me to actually use Deliveroo and order something from Deliveroo to get that.
Yes, they do a really good offer, which is if anyone knows, do sort of the slices of pizza are huge. It's a New York style pizza slice, and they're massive.
They're beefy.
Each slice, and so they're big enough that they sell them by the slice, like a Costco. You go in and buy a slice from Costco. Like you go into this place, and it's like £5 a slice. They do a deal where you can spend £20, you get 4 slices and 2 sides. So yeah,
I think I looked at that. The problem was that's what I was going to order, I think, at the link up, but the one pizza that I wanted, which was literally just a pepperoni pizza, wasn't actually included in that offer. Because I remember you saying to me, "Oh, check out, get this 4 slice thing. It's better than getting a pizza, and you get these 2 sides." Like, yeah, and it's like, Did they have pepperoni pizza on the offer? I'm like, all right, we'll just get a 16-incher and we'll see how we go.
Yeah. Cool. So, Mass, what games have you been playing since the link up?
So I've been going back to a theme park, something I usually go back to every now and again. That is the original game from 1994. So I've been playing that, and I've also been playing a point-and-click game, Lamplight City, which is a detective adventure game. So point-and-click, sort of, Monkey Island style.
Okay. What brought you onto that?
I think I was just looking for a new point-and-click game. I haven't played one for a little while, and I'd sort of been playing Theme Park for a week or two, and I just thought, let's just take a look and see if there's any sort of point and click. Because I played the new Monkey Island, but that was a couple of years ago. That's really the last point and click I'd played. So I thought I wanted to try another one, and this came up pretty good on the reviews. So I thought give it a go. So far, so good. Although I am a little bit stuck, and I have learned that it's quite punishing, this game as well. You can ask too many questions or the wrong questions to certain characters to the point where my understanding is you won't be able to complete the game. They will shun you. They won't actually respond to you. So yeah, I need to be careful and remember that I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So
Oh yeah, that's a good motto for a lot of people to take on. How come Theme Hospital? Like, what made you go back? Was it 94? Like,
theme park, sorry.
oh, sorry, theme park. Theme park.
I always seem to dip in and out of it every year or so. I'll play it, just build up a nice big theme park. I took out huge loans and sort of pumped in loads of money into the research for the shops, and then sort of built all of the shops. And then thankfully it paid off, and I was able to pay my debts, and then use that income as well then to upgrade or to build better rides, and then sell the park for profit, and then
Wait. Are you telling me you've actually managed to get past the first level in Theme Park
I have
without using a cheat to give you cash?
I have
I remember trying to do. I remember that was pretty much nigh on impossible in that game to get past the first park without cheating. You just could never get enough money to eventually sell it and get to the second one.
the game does look quite sort of inviting and quite childish, but as you say, the difficulty is it's quite challenging. But there is the tactic that I used to take those loans out to get all of the shops, and then subsequent to that to use the income from the shops to pay off the debt, and then to go and spend money on upgrades for better rides. It paid off. It's worked a treat. The one thing you do need to be careful of, because I'm always playing full sim, is making sure that you've got orders in place for your food stocks for your shops, because the particularly the Coke, it just runs out so quickly, and if you don't do that, then that can cause an issue, because of course the guests can't get a drink, so that sort of starts giving a sort of a negative effect on people's feelings around the park, and that can have an impact then of course on people coming to your park or people leaving, and then of course they can't spend the money that they came into as well, because you haven't got any stock. So that's something you need to keep in mind. But coming back to what you actually, I was playing Theme Park, I was actually looking at Theme Hospital as well. I have played that a couple of years ago, so I might pick back up on that as well. Again,
I love Theme Hospital. I definitely preferred. It definitely was a bit more forgiving of the two simulators. It came after Theme Park, but I love Theme Hospital. Great game.
It's a more polished game as well, because Theme Park does have some bugs. It's very often that the game does crash, so you do need to save it frequently. A lot of the time, the guests can get stuck, and you can't find out exactly where they are stuck. It's not something Theme Hospital doesn't tend, or I've only seen sort of one a much later level with a piece of equipment I think it was only a graphical glitch anyway, didn't affect the gameplay. But I have to admit, I haven't actually completed Theme Hospital. I think I got pretty close last few levels, so there's all the reason for me to go back and try it again.
I haven't played that game probably when it came out. It was the last time I probably played it, was when it came out.
Yeah, the Theme Hospital's 97.
Mm.
I remember having it on the PlayStation and the PC. I think I got it free on Origin like 10 years ago or something like that. I think I've still got it linked on my account. So I quite fancy playing it. Now you mentioned it, I've got an itch to play it later.
I know that
it's a hilarious game. All the bloaty, all the different diseases and stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
it's definitely a fantastic.
bloaty
Like-
head syndrome. It's brilliant, isn't it? It goes and pops your head and blows up to a normal size. And the other one was, what was it? TV personalities, where you think you're someone from the television and you're having to lie on the couch talking to the psychiatrist as they sort of put you back together again. Yeah, it's a great game.
What
Got a lot of character.
what games have you been playing? Acidic Virus.
So I was recently, last week I was away on holiday. I did take my Steam Deck and made excellent use of the £600 I wasted on it by playing Stardew Valley for the week. I love Stardew Valley though, so it was good fun. I think I did all right. I think I've lived pretty much a couple of days from winter on the first year. I got through 3 seasons throughout the week. Pretty strong position on that. When or if I'll go back to it, I don't know. But prior to that, I've been playing pretty much just been playing Once Human actually for the last sort of 3-4 weeks.
What your
definitely
thoughts on Once Human?
I like it. It's got quite it's quite complex. Certainly to start with, as you yourself will know because you've played some of it from the beginning. There's a lot of things, while they do have kind of like quite a good tutorial explaining stuff and kind of like a journal system which will kind of minorly reward you for going through and doing like certain tasks, which is like how you expand your base. So all the different aspects of like crafting, building your base, growing stuff, like getting food, getting water, like little mini challenges that kind of step by step show you how to do it by doing it and then giving you a small reward. That's there. But there's also quite a lot of the menus and the information they don't really explain. It's kind of more of a you kind of stumble through it and kind of until you get it. But yeah, I think so. I haven't been on it for over a week. I'm thinking it must be in its 5th week at the moment, and then it must be like I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday it tends to shift, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
So I think midweek will be going into the 6th and final week of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone hasn't heard of Once Human, it's an MMO game. It has all those sort of elements. It's kind of like a slightly post-apocalyptic kind of futuristic style to it, with weird kind of aliens, but also bad soldiers like the evil research company and soldiers and stuff like that. That sort of classic dodgy company that kind of created these monsters and that. But it runs on like a 6-week cycle. Now I'm not fully in the know of 100% on everything on how it's supposed to be working in that, but it works. What I do know is it works on like 6 weeks of content. So the week 1 they started with kind of like a limited amount of what you could do in the areas you could go to, and then like each week, the second week they opened everything up, but then they start opening up more of the story, harder difficulties for things like the dungeons. Before I went away on holiday, they just kind of sneak previewed what was going on within the world, kind of like in the week that we're currently in now.
Mm-hmm.
In that kind of like they've opened up like big server wide events where everybody can kind of participate and kind of add towards by doing challenges and that, which will then reward everybody that's on the server. But once that 6-week cycle is over, then there's a whole new refresh, and you'll start again, new character level 1. There are things that you carry over with your character, air quotes. So you will carry over things like blueprints, like the major currencies for there's like half a dozen at least different. There's like 10 different types of currency for different events and how you can get them and what you can get with them. Most of it is kind of like aesthetics and skins and that, but there's quite a lot of diversity in like the crafting and the builds that you do. Like each kind of like different style of weapon, from like sniper rifles, AKs, pistols, like melee weapons, all have different can get different attributes and kind of like effects that you can get with them, and you can augment them with mods, and you can upgrade those mods. Your gear as well, you can tier it, which is what I quite like about this game, in that like you kind of progress through different levels of difficulty within the world as you're leveling up, and you'll go through and get different tiers of material, which I think I've never really I don't recall really seeing too much of. You'll just kind of like, so like the first area you'll have like scrap metal, and then it'll be like simple parts, which is like the better scrap metal. And like in the second area, you get the resources to build like you get blueprints for like your armor and your weapons, and then you can build different tiers. Like the higher tier, you need the higher tier resources for. They cost you more, but they offer a lot more protection and bonuses. And all the different gear sets have attributes based on how many of them. They have like a gear completion set, so you can mix and match in that way. You can pick and choose. Do I want 4 items out of the 6 that I can equip, which will give me all 4 attributes from this one thing? Or you could do 6 completely different ones if you just want the first attribute thing that you get from this gear set from each one. So I quite like the diversity. I've got a little burn thing going on at the moment. Got this epic like machine gun, or like minigun really, that just does this. I've tried to kind of steer my gear and my mods towards like extra burn damage to it. So I think I do like more like status burn damage to the enemies than I do actual damage with the weapon. But I've been finding it quite satisfying, and it's quite exciting going through and like, okay, I'm gonna upgrade my gear, and like I'm gonna get this new weapon, I'm gonna build it at a higher tier, I'm gonna try this out, and I kind of go in there and you try it out and you're like, oh, this is doing disgusting damage. And I've been finding it quite enjoyable and quite rewarding. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next kind of week and a half, and then what that transition. I know a lot of people, certainly people when I've been streaming and talking to with like friends in the community and stuff like that, a lot of people have had hesitations because they're like, oh, you kind of build everything up and then you lose everything you've done in 6 weeks. But I think the jury will be out until I actually get to try it. I quite like the idea of it, because I think it kind of breathes in and gives some like new life to the game, because they'll have a brand new season, new goals and that. And the idea is, to my knowledge, is like you'll start in a different area of the world. So I don't know if it's going to be like the current world that they have, and they'll just change kind of like the range of levels of enemies within that. So you start at the other end and kind of work your way across, or it's a completely different world map. But also I think it's definitely, for me, I'm looking forward to playing it a second time, because now it kind of feels like playing it a second time. But now I know what I'm doing, and I think I can make it all. I think once you know what you're doing within it, then it's much easier to progress, and you can kind of make those choices of however you want. Maybe tailor your experience to what you want to do. If it's kind of like that end game content and bosses, there's these like, I haven't tried it yet, but there's like these big wars that are supposed to be going on that you all participate in, and you're supposed to have like rocket launchers and plasma missiles that I haven't had a chance to experience yet. But
Were
that
you
sounds
on the
quite exciting.
Were you on the PvP or the PvE server?
I was on PvE. I'm not the biggest on PvP. Certainly, if I was trying out a game for the first time.
Yeah, because that's one thing I'd be
I
interested to see, if you can move from PvE to PvP. later on down the line.
That would be. There are a couple of bits that have PvP elements in
Yeah.
them. Some of the kind of like pop up activities or quests that kind of like events that pop up are PvP that you can kind of like you have to kill other people to get the rewards for it. But yeah, I haven't experienced I don't know how different the PvP side of things are. If it's literally a case of everywhere, because some games will be like, yeah, it's PvP, but it's kind of like this area over here is for PvP and the rest is PvE. I don't know how different. I personally like. There's nothing more frustrating to me than trying to work out a new game and stuff like that, and you just get ganked and noobed right at the beginning. There's
Yeah.
not.
I
It's.
think
I
there's
mean,
something
for some people, it's a steep learning curve for it. You know, something like Rust and that. There's that kind of short term, like you're gonna die. Um, but yeah,
there is something with if everyone resets to level 1 every 6 weeks, that a new person, like a brand new person, could theoretically come in on week 1 and level up at the same time as everyone else is. So you actually that's not like a normal game where someone can just be a level 100 after like 3 months, and then they'll always be level 100. So that it's actually
I think if
it
yeah,
might
from that
work
side of things.
for new people getting involved. It might work.
I mean, I know from the PvE side of things, like your kind of end game content is like kind of doing the dungeons in like hard and like nightmare modes. And I don't know, I haven't finished the story yet. I have hit max level. I'm kind of pretty much in that last area of the game to do the story wise. So hopefully I can get that kind of done this week, and then maybe look at what else there is available when you kind of hit that. Obviously, I got a week of content and stuff to catch up on find out what they have released while I've been off for the week. But I don't have a great deal of time for gaming, but I don't feel like it's been punishing to kind of level up. I think you could quite easily come into the game on like week 2 or week 3, maybe from a PvP standpoint, depending on how it works, potentially not, but sadly on the PvE, there are very easy and quick ways you can level up. Like there's these commissions, which are actually kind of dumb. It's like a bonus weekly system where you can choose 5 out of 8 tasks to complete, and these tasks are like ridiculously easy, and they just give stupid amounts of experience. Like you literally are going up like almost a level, like every time you complete one of these missions, and it's literally like go and craft 30 arrows, go and craft 120 pistol ammo. So you like accept these quests, go back to your base, do the 3 crafting ones, and you've got up 2-3 levels in the space of 5 minutes. So there's lots of ways that you can get repeatable experience, but I think kind of like naturally going through it and doing the missions and that levels you up fairly quickly and keeps you on pace with the story anyway. And then if you want to kind of explore different areas, then you'll find yourself being over leveled, or certainly a higher level than you need to be based on where you're going with the story.
Yeah. Is that sold Masanevre the benefits of downloading it and playing it?
I might have. Yeah, I'll have a look at it. Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, it's free. That's the other thing. It's a free game, so I think from what I've seen so far, it is, like I said, I'm enjoying it, and for a free game, I think it's great. You can get like a battle pass for it, but it's not a pay to win game. It literally everything in the battle pass is cosmetics, like different skins, different outfits, different stuff you can, currency to get stuff in the store, but it's all decorations or different floor skins and wall skins for like your house and that. But I've never been in a point in that game where I felt like I need to grind to level up. This is too hard. Admittedly, I'm one of those people that kind of goes around and wants to discover all the areas and kind of tick off like the missions within the area. But you can go through and just do kind of like the story mode of it and not really have to go around and still kind of stay on target for where you need to go through. It kind of depends what you want to do with the game, really.
I think you'd really like it. I'll probably wait until till the next season to make a start. Well, you can get started now, just to get a feel of it. But like, I enjoy playing it. I just couldn't commit to the time. What I felt was the amount of time that you would need to play it for.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, and then for it I think kind of like the jury's out on until we hit the second season on kind of like how it feels and how it goes. Really, I think a lot of people are waiting to see either starting the second season or see what the response is from people who have kind of done everything and got to the end after those 6 weeks and then have to start from the beginning.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you very much for that, chat. Anything else you wanted to add while you were here this week?
What have you been playing, Devastate?
Well, I've been playing. So I have actually not played any games for the entirety of the week.
I didn't think I saw you pop up and stream.
No, so I was playing First Descendants.
How are you finding that? It looked. I caught one of your streams on it. It looked quite complicated.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're running around trying to kill. Is it kind of like a multi? Just got to kill loads of stuff.
Yeah, it's the standard, like an alien planet trying to destroy something else, and it's okay. It's again, it's free to play game, and that's you've got PVE or PvP. So I'm paying PVE on that at the moment, and essentially you sort of go in, you've got lots of different missions that you've got to do. It's okay. I mean, that one that you were watching me on stream, that was. I was on stream and I was sweating.
You were.
Oh my god! It
was almost like watching the Formula One. I think you were just kind of like running around this circle like 100 times, just trying to pop one guy off because like there was like 20 or 30 or it just like popped on you and like you turn around and like you're like, oh, my shield's gone, I gotta die, gotta run, I don't have ammo. You just like running around trying to pop these guys up. I was like, it looks pretty intense.
Well, it was like almost as soon as I worked out that they shot you and like health would go down. I was like, right, if I just carry running in a circle, it will just they can't shoot me, and so I just carried on going. But I spent it went on for like 15, 20 minutes. And I was absolutely exhausted. And I finally did it, and I was absolutely exhausted at the end of like that passage of play. But yeah, no, that's it. I'm having a bit of a gaming lull at the moment. I'll have the new FC25 that will come out in a month and 10 days. Comes out I'll have the premium one that will come out on the 20th of September.
Looking forward to that.
So yes, I'll be playing that, and I'll be streaming the majority of all of that gameplay. And then so that will take me for a couple of months, and then the new Football Manager FM25 will come out in November. So then I'll be playing that as well. So I'm having I almost have my September, October, November, December are just full of gaming. So I'm just almost got a month until, so I'll dip in and play some other bits and pieces. I said to Beefy on our last podcast that we'll organise a Sins game. If people are up for doing that one day.
Yeah, I'll be down for it.
Yeah, we just get a big online Sin games goes. I mean, it might be that now if the game. Masanevre, did you say when Sins is coming out?
I think it was the 15th.
Okay, so I mean, no better time than on release, though. Yeah,
it's the 15th.
So we can get like a game of that going. That'd be cool. But yeah, that'd be. I'll touch in and try and finish some more of First Descendants, but yeah, that's why I sort of don't want to really commit to Once Human at the moment as well. Just trying a load of little bits and pieces. And then you told me not to play, was it Palia?
I don't think you would enjoy Palia. Like, I know, I played it. It's got kind of like all those kind of cozy vibes. I didn't realize there was no fighting in it at all. There's no like enemies. There's no like. So to me, it just kind of felt like one half of like an MMO where you're doing all these fetch quests and that, and like building a cozy house and having on cute accessories. Like it just felt a bit meh to me. I kind of like one and done it, but yeah, I mean it's free. At the end of the day, it's free, mate. You might as well give it a try. You might enjoy it. I
Yeah,
promise I won't mock you if you secretly end up enjoying playing it.
yeah, we'll see. Right. Well, I think we can call it there. I think that's been a really good episode of the podcast. Just want to thank Acidic Virus and Masanevre for joining. We'll put a link to Acidic Virus's Twitch channel, so go and give them a follow. And then obviously go and check out the Royal Link Up on Twitch as well. I will be streaming again there soon, I promise. I'll try and do something on there. Even if it's just a just chatting stream, or we're doing some reactions to other bits and pieces. But yes, my name has been Devastate. Thank you very much for joining. This has been
Acidic Virus. Lovely to be back. Take care, folks.
And Masanevre, thanks again for having me back.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.